Hello Crow Coven and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Crowmates Apothecary, and in today's video we are going to be looking at what you can expect for the rest of this year. But before we get into the different groups, remember to hit like on the video, click subscribe to join the Crow Coven, and lastly, leave a comment to let me know if you have any plans for the rest of the year or any goals that you have set forth that you are looking forward to. And lastly, I wanted to have just a real quick moment of saying thank you guys so much for your patience. I know it's been a little while since we actually uploaded on our YouTube channel, but the other half of Crowmates Apothecary unfortunately went through some health issues, and so we have been without our editor, and we've been trying to focus on ourselves and focus on just bringing that healing energy to our partner. So thank you guys again so much for your patience. And now let's get into the intro of the different groups. On the far left side, we have Skull Sight representing group number 1. Then we have the Pink Agate representing group number 2. Next, we have the Howlite representing group number 3. And lastly, we have Aura Quartz representing group number 4. And if you need to, feel free to pause the video in order to meditate and then make a decision on the groups that I have set out in front of you. Feel free to close your eyes, and then when you open them, the very first one that you see is your intuition calling to you, so go for that one. And when you've made that decision, head on down to the description box below and then click on the timestamp that corresponds with the group that you chose. And now, without further ado, let's head into your reading. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at what you can expect out of the rest of this year. And you guys chose this scolecite in order to represent you. I'm going to go ahead and show it off. It's a very beautiful gemstone. It's kind of hard to really pick up on the camera, but it has this really beautiful marbling and is just extremely smooth to the touch. And it really gives off this really light and almost sort of like filtering energy. It almost feels as if things can just pass through it without having to worry about it. And really, that's what this gemstone means. It has this ability to give you this sense of serenity when you are going through extremely hard times in your life. And it can also help you break through really stagnant energy. So if you've just felt like you haven't been able to get things done, or you have felt like there's been obstacles in front of you, it can really help to push you forward with stronger energy. So let's go ahead and tap into Spirit. Spirit, can we please find out what is going to be going on with the rest of Group 1's year of 2024? What can they expect? A card flew out immediately, so I will be taking that card. I had another one drop. I'm going to do one more. So these are the 3 themes and things that I believe that you either need to be focusing on or will be coming to you. So the first one that flew out was insight. So this could possibly be meaning that you need to do some inner work. You need to really look within in order to find answers instead of stressing about what other people think of you and also other people's words. You have the ability to really bring goodness and greatness to yourself and your life. In this card here, we see how genius the crow is, where it wants to get this little shrimp that's here in the jar, but the water was too low. So the crow is dropping in rocks in order to raise the water level so it can reach the shrimp without any issue. So that's kind of the feeling that I'm seeing for you, is that you are going to find a very creative way in order to resolve some sort of obstacle that may be in your way in the rest of 2024. There's something that's either presented itself to you or is about to, and you are going to be able to find a really creative way to work around this problem. The next card that flew out is this card of self-interest. So this is the time for you to worry about you. Granted, there's always a beauty in being able to work in a community and be able to be there for other people. But I think these are two cards that very much are focused on you. And so I feel like there's a possibility that you've almost been ignoring yourself for the vast majority of this year, and you haven't been able to go for what you want. But in here, we're seeing that this crow is flying off with its meal, and in this, it's kind of calling to you that whatever that you want, whatever that you want to go for that has an obstacle in your way, I think you need to do it. There's something that's calling to you that you are afraid of either competition or the possibility of imposter syndrome, where you're like, is it really for me? Like, should I go for this? You don't have the confidence. And I think you need to really give yourself a lot more credit than you have, and instead absolutely go for what you want. Because again, to this crow, this meal is its survival. And it won't be able to help the community around it if it itself doesn't survive in the moment, kind of thing. So it almost gives off this feeling of you needing to do what is best for you and avoid, again, the opinions of other people, and avoid that restless feeling that you get of when you can't help others and you're just so stressed out and you're sitting there being like, oh, but I want to be able to give them my time and energy. I think it's time for you to call your power back and focus on you. The last card we're seeing here is displacement. And in here, this can really talk about a move. It can talk about something that has happened or something that may happen that could be almost like a tower moment. We're seeing here in the card that there is a lot of like chaos going on. There's a lot of, it just feels very like obviously cluttered, like you're confused. And again, there are like some crows going off one way and some going off the other way. So it does feel like that sense of cloudiness and confusion and not knowing where to go. So this could be something that you are currently struggling with. And it feels like that in order to find this new home or new sense of belonging, you do have to look within and focus on your self-interest in order to, again, creatively get through this problem. This could also be a displacement of something like a workplace situation where you're feeling like you're being almost like passed over when it comes to like a time for promotion, or just sort of like people not really recognizing the credit where it's due, kind of thing. In other instances, it can also feel like perhaps there's stuff going on with friendships too, where it feels like you're almost left out of the group. So there's some sort of situation where it just feels like you need to focus on you because of all this chaos that is going on, this absolute tower moment that is happening here. And we're gonna go ahead and get into the tarot. This card fell out. Can we please get some, can we get some cards for group 1 for the rest of 2024 and what they can expect from it? My head felt very cloudy. Like I went silent. if you didn't notice, I went like silent for a second and I just felt like I couldn't think. So you could possibly be having these issues where you are just like, you want to put forward your like mental energy and you want to push forward and maybe find a solution, and you can't find that creative solution. There's just like an issue going on right now. And I do think that ties into that self-interest. You need to really, really focus on you during this time. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. The first one we're seeing is the Fool. Then we have 7 of Pentacles, the Sun, and the Six of Wands in the reverse position. Let me just go ahead and move these a little bit. The immediate feeling I'm getting here is that the things to expect out of 2024 is that there is going to be a journey that you have to go on. There's going to be some sort of journey that you're going to undertake, and it's going to be a fresh journey. You're going to feel like this might be a spontaneous sort of decision that you're making, and you could possibly be very scared or nervous about going on to this journey because it kind of feels almost like a quick decision. Like you just went, you know what, I'm going to do this. If you didn't see it, sort of like flew out of my hands when before I even asked Spirit what was going to be going on with the rest of your year, this card wanted to come out. And because this is the very first card of the tarot, it does talk about, again, that new beginning. And it does also lend to you almost having this sense of wonder about this new beginning. So you are going to be finding your new home. You're going to be finding a sense of belonging by the end of this, maybe not by the end of this year, let's not say that, in the future, because it could just be that these are the stepping stones and then perhaps you don't find it until 2025. But I do feel like you are putting things in place. There's something going on that is being put in place that is going to lead you to your better outcome. So in the Seven of Pentacles here, we are seeing that you are going to be working on a clear new vision for yourself, and you're going to be feeding into that vision because there is a reward for you that you are due almost. It feels like you have been fighting against something for so long, and it's been a struggle for you to get to this point. But I do believe that whatever new journey that you are going on, you're going to be able to reach this sense of almost like reward and being able to profit off of it. The Pentacles always talk about money, so there's something going on, whether that's you reaching out to a new position at a job and you end up getting it and then it brings you that wealth, or perhaps you find a better living situation for yourself where maybe you're splitting the bills with someone and that is going to free up things in your finances. There's always the possibility for some of you that if you are someone who has been working on sort of like a side hustle kind of thing, you have been tending this tree here. You've been coming out night and day. You've been coming out here and tending to this side hustle, this plant here, this tree, and now you are seeing the fruits of your labor. It gives off that feeling of you have been pushing forward for something and you are finally going to see the rewards, because we see that here in the sun. The sun always comes out as a very positive card, and it talks about your success and being able to see that success. It isn't something where you're internally growing. This is a very forward card. Like it is going to jump out and be a very obvious sort of like progress or upgrade to your life, and you're going to see the results of this. I also find it very interesting that we are seeing the two suns here in these cards, in the two major arcana cards that we have out here. So that could be something that could be very important for you. Perhaps it's indicating maybe by the end of summer or even going into autumn, we're seeing that bright light still. That could be sort of the turning point. The other part of it that I'm really getting a message of is making sure that you do get outside and you get more, just like more outside time, more sunlight and things like that. And then lastly, we have the Six of Wands in the reverse position. And this here can indicate, I think, a feeling of you needing to make sure that you, while this is a time of you needing to worry about self-interest, I also believe that this is almost a warning for some of you to make sure that you kind of keep things to just your own, I'm trying to think, make sure that when you are focusing on yourself, that you aren't almost like screaming it from the rooftops. The feeling that I'm getting is that there is the potential of someone out there who is possibly seeing what you're doing, and they're thinking negatively about you, in being like, wow, like this person really like did whatever they could to win, kind of thing. It kind of feels like that sort of energy, that negative sort of mindset where someone's looking at you and they're feeling like you're doing something sneaky, and so they're like gossiping behind your back, kind of thing. So just be careful when it comes to actually like sharing the information of your success. Make sure that you also don't worry about external forces. This can also talk about you possibly having a really severe lack of confidence in yourself. And we kind of saw that a little bit in Insight, where it was giving off that feeling like you couldn't quite figure out how to creatively unblock yourself from this situation here. And it was you really talking down on yourself, kind of thing. And this is kind of reinforcing that mindset. So try to avoid sharing with people who you already know are kind of jealous, but also making sure that you feed into your self-interest, you feed into your self-worth, and know that this is meant for you and that you are allowed to have these things. I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple of more cards for you guys. Do you have any more messages for group 1, Spirit? I'm also having a hard time with like talking right now. Like this last card was really like, it was hard to pull that message out. So there's a possibility of you needing to focus on your communication, or recognize how important your words are going to be over the next few months. I pulled 2 cards for you. The first one is the Rhodonite card, and it says, find a way to forgive. So this can very obviously indicate you needing to forgive another person for this situation, or you needing to forgive yourself. There's a possibility that you think like, oh, I got myself into this, and of course, like, now I'm stressed with all this confusion and chaos, kind of thing. Try to find a way to forgive yourself of that and reclaim that power again. Remember, you're going on a new journey. So it feels like this needed to happen. Anytime we have this sort of like massive disruption, or like I said before, something like the Tower card coming out, it's because the foundation that your life up to that point had been built upon is no longer serving you, and it needs to be razed to the ground, and then you need to build up a new foundation, one that is better for you for this new chapter in your life. And we are seeing so much positivity through these cards here that this feels like something that absolutely needed to happen in order to kickstart you into the next chapter of your life. Whether this is a good or a bad sort of thing that happened, it's something that needed to for your higher self to grow and expand. We also have the Rainbow Obsidian with Heal Your Heart. So these are 2 cards very much that talk about you needing to, again, there's forgive yourself, heal your heart. There's some internal need that you have to focus on over the course of the rest of the year. And I feel like these are going to be the things that end up leading you toward this path of goodness that we are seeing for you. I want to make sure that you give yourself grace, give yourself the time and energy that you need in order to prosper. And just know that you have everything within you in order to make the decisions for you to figure a way out of whatever this situation is. I'm gonna go ahead and pull one last card for you, group 1, and then I also will roll the Astro dice to see if there are any important signs for you to look out for. If we get one last message for group 1. You got 2. So the first one we have is sorbet and gelato, and it says know who you have. So in this is keep close the people who have always been there for you. Don't break all contact, like how we were talking about the potential of someone being jealous of you. You know who to trust. You know who in your life is safe for you, and then you know those of the people in your life who are jealous or who are toxic, and you just haven't cut those people out. This is calling to you and letting you know to make sure that you only focus your time and energy on the people who make you feel good, because you could very possibly fall into this almost like cycle of being like, oh, but I've been friends with this person for however long, and since we're friends, of course I can't like not tell them these things about my life. But it really has this feeling of you needing to protect yourself during this time, and knowing that these people or person, they pull away from your energy. Anytime you stop having conversation with them, you feel drained, you feel as if like maybe you feel worse after talking with them. So these are the people that you need to avoid during this time. During the rest of the year, try to pull away from them and keep yourself close to those who always lift you up. The last card that we have coming out is the Giorno Giovanna card with Arise Anew. And this again talks about this newness, kind of like the Fool card here. It talks about you bursting forth from this cocoon, becoming this butterfly, going through this metamorphosis, going through the tower moment here where there's this major destruction that's happening that is going to bring you to a stronger start in this next chapter of your life kind of thing. So again, you have this power within you. Just keep on holding on to hope and know that you are going to move through this. But I do think things that you need to focus on are you finding a way to forgive either yourself or another person, and then also healing your heart from whatever has been going on in your life in order to progress. And lastly, we're going to roll the Astro dice to see if we can get your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps somebody in your life is going to be important during this time. The first one we have coming through is Aries. I'm going to actually roll over here so I'm not rolling on cards. The next one that we have is Cancer. And lastly, we have Capricorn. So those could be 3 signs that can be very important to keep around you during this time. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. If you like this video or it resonates with you, remember to hit like on the video, click subscribe to join the Crow Coven so you don't miss tarot readings just like this one. And lastly, leave a comment down below to sort of let me know if, again, this resonated with you, or if you plan on taking certain steps that you want to share, any manifestations that you want to share to sort of bring you to the end of 2024. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to today's reading. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at what you can expect out of the rest of the year of 2024. And you guys chose this pink agate in order to represent you today. And this gemstone here can really help to harmonize when there are opposites in situations. So if you are having a misunderstanding with someone, or they're not seeing eye to eye with you, this could be something that can really help to represent that and to help you heal from that sort of situation that you're going through. It can really help to overcome anger, and then also issues pertaining to just being very bitter about situations. So we're going to go ahead and get directly into these cards here. I'm going to be pulling a few cards to help sort of represent either the situation that you're in or what is coming your way and what you can expect. So Spirit, can we please get some messages for the group 2 on what they can expect out of the rest of their year of 2024? I'd like to pull 3, please. The first card we have coming out is routine. I'm just going to pull them in a row, and then we will go through them one at a time. So for routine, really the thing that I'm seeing is that in order for you to accomplish the goal that you want to strive toward, you need to make sure you are going like clockwork. We're seeing very much that the crows are coming from their homes in the trees to the city during the morning to perhaps pick up like scraps or things like that of that nature. And then when it is time to go home, when the sun is setting, they're heading back home. They're going through this cyclical kind of nature. And I feel like this is going to be something that really helps you be able to achieve whatever it is that you are looking forward to the rest of the year. So you could be possibly thinking about getting into a new routine. It could be very much that maybe you are starting on your goals a little bit late. You know how we always set goals of like, oh, into the new year, I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to gain strength, things like that. You may be putting that into place right now in order to make up for lost time. Or maybe you're just finally seeing that your life has been kind of chaotic. Maybe the earlier part of 2024 has been very hard for you to really feel like you've got a good hold on it. So you're planning that routine. We're seeing in waterproof here, I'm immediately getting this feeling of like you are not letting whatever either like sadness, depression, any sort of harsh negative words being said to you, you're not letting that cloud your judgment or take away from you. So you may be somebody who often has struggled with depressive thoughts, or perhaps you are more prone to sort of upset when it comes to your mental state. But I'm seeing right now that you are going to be able to kind of let that wash off your back instead of clinging to you for the remainder of the year. So I see that in conjunction with routine is that you're going to really put in the work in order to work through this, in order to process this. So I think you've come to sort of this determination within yourself that this is like where it ends. Like you're like, I am done with feeling the way I felt and I'm going to push forward. And in order to do that, you're putting a plan into place is really what it feels like. Lastly, we are seeing a scavenge. So it could be that right now, maybe you are feeling this way, and kind of like what is going on over the course of the next few months is this feeling of you finally got to the point where you've recognized what is causing these problems in your life, and you are really determined to make a change. So I really think that like what to expect throughout the rest of the year is that you are coming up with a plan. You're putting that plan into place. You're going to process things using this sort of routine. You're going to go and be like, every single day, these are the things that I need to do in order for myself to feel better, for my mental health, for my health in general kind of thing. So you can let everything wash off of you in order to succeed. With scavenge, the feeling that I'm getting from this card is that you are, it's like you're coming up empty everywhere. So there's all these open cans and the crow is looking through it in order to find the little bits and pieces it can to hold on kind of thing. And I think that that is kind of what is going on with you, is that it feels as if there's been some chaos in your life and you have felt like you're in survival mode. So we're going to go ahead and look into the tarot now. And we're going to see if we can get any messages to help you during this time, or any further messages about what you can expect for the rest of 2024. So Spirit, can we please get some messages for group 2? The first card that we have coming out is the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse position. This kind of lends to that scavenge mindset that we were talking about a little bit earlier, is this feeling of you almost needing to be in this this mode with yourself where you have to be in control of everything because there's some sort of potential loss that you may have suffered, and you are feeling very like alone. You're feeling very much like you are struggling from this situation in particular, and that is what is causing you to realize that you need to set up this routine and push forward. This can indicate also that you are just feeling like very like lonely, as if like you don't have like the support system that you need during this time. So for this, it does feel like you have just gone through a very stressful time, or you are on the like precipice. And of course, with all things having to do with tarot, is you do have your own free will. You are not stuck to whatever it is that the cards say, but this is something that is to help guide you. So you can always surround yourself with the people that you need. You can start putting things in place now in case this is something that's on the table for the remainder of the year. You can start putting in safeguards. So the thought process behind that, the example I want to give is, perhaps you haven't made this decision yet, but maybe there's something that you were going to purchase or invest in, or maybe you were going to, perhaps you're going to purchase a home. You're going to move completely different place than what you're used to. You're putting down a lot of money into a home, and then it starts falling apart because you don't have enough funds to take care of your day-to-day, or you were expecting one thing and got another kind of thing. So you could be in that mindset right now and you haven't made any decisions yet. And this is just sort of the course of action. This is what would happen if you were going into that, but you can better prepare yourself now, where you can, if you're still planning on purchasing that home, you can better budget yourself so you know you have enough money down the line. So just keep in mind that, again, this is all about just taking on the advice and what works for you. The next thing we have here coming out is the 5 of Wands in the reverse position. And this card comes out when there is some sort of either need for you to avoid conflict on some level. So, you were possibly surrounded by a lot of disagreements, or possibly surrounded by a lot of tension. And instead of giving those people or that situation your energy, you're instead pulling away from them. You're really wanting to not insert yourself into that during this time. And I think that is some good advice during this as well, is that it feels like you need to really pull away and focus on yourself. So don't allow yourself to get muddled by all of this like noise and nonsense that we're seeing here. It can also indicate when you need to really focus on your goals, when you need to really zone in on the things that are truly important to you, and keep hammering those details out. So again, focusing instead on your routine in order to see progress. Can we get some more messages for group 2 about what to expect? We have Justice in the reverse position. With this card, there is this feeling as if you were set up for something. Like, either you were set up for a job and then it fell through, or you could possibly have been treated unfairly when it comes to a certain person or a certain situation. And it really feels like, yeah, that you're going through something to where you feel as if this is like a completely unfair, unjust thing. And it seems like there's some level of dishonesty that is going on. So this could potentially be warning you about possibly being scammed by someone, or kind of having that too good to be true thing set out for you. And then when you reach for it, it ends up biting you and it hits you as a strong financial loss. And you are then trying to pick up the pieces beyond that. There are some of you that could possibly, like, this is going to be a very small percentage of you, but there could be some people who are currently going through a court case. And this is something that is really damaging your finances, that you've had to sink your own money into, and then you are still being treated unfairly during this. And the feeling of it is that there's something going on where someone is being dishonest, someone doesn't stand up for the actual truth of the matter, kind of thing. And so if you find yourself in this situation, you're going to want to make sure that you do your due diligence, try to do everything that you can to protect yourself during this time in order for the truth to come to light, because it is kind of giving off this feeling overall in your reading that you are on your back foot. You're not, it just gives that feeling of you're having a very hard time in succeeding and in progressing. Can we get some advice for group 2? Light just flickered. I don't know if the camera caught it, but my left light just flickered. 4 of Swords in the reverse position. I'm very interested in the fact that so many reversals have happened. So in this one, I asked for advice. This can talk about, again, a lack of progress. Again, it feels like you can't progress. And also it can talk about hitting burnout. So the advice is going to be that you need to get into a routine. There needs to be something that you can cling on to in a steadfast nature that is going to help guide you through this. You need to have your control group. You need to have your normal, because whatever this shakeup is that's going on, you need to be able to follow these repeat steps in order to keep yourself from burning out. Obviously, be careful of burnout in general. Really take care of yourself and allow yourself time for self-care, even if there's a lot of chaos happening around you, because otherwise we are seeing you hit that burnout phase. So the feeling is, say you make sure that you wake up every morning, you get something to eat, and then you immediately go out and work out. You do your work for the day. And then after work, you take some time to kind of decompress for a little while, find something that is actually serving you instead of just endlessly scrolling on your phone. You find something and find time to where you can ground yourself. You can sit down and really meditate and do some deep breathing, anything that really calls to you that can make you feel centered, because that is going to be your go-to routine to follow. Because then beyond that, whatever else is going on, you can tackle it in a much better way than just falling to escapism. If you're somebody who, when you're met with hard times, you're like, oh, I'm going to just go ahead and binge watch my favorite TV show, or I'm going to go ahead and absolutely ignore every single thing that I'm feeling, it's going to really help you to avoid doing those things. Can we get some more advice? I know this is different from group 1. I want to just see if we can get anything else for you, group 2. I'm having a few cards that are trying to fall out and that are being just unruly in general. And so it does feel like there's a lot of chaos. Try to find your center during this time. For some of you, this is going to be a divorce. For some of you, this is going to be a complicated court case. We have Temperance in the reverse position, another reversal. I'm actually going to put this, I think, here. Any other advice? And the Emperor. This one, however, is in the upright position. you are out of balance. You do need to find that balance. You need to have a long-term vision. You need to find out what it is that you need to guide you. That out of balance, the fact that this is showing balance and calling back to the routine. We want to make sure that advice-wise is that you have a go-to hammered in moderate lifestyle for the time being. So this might be that you have to pull away from things that you normally find joy in. If you're somebody who likes to go out and party a lot, or you enjoy doing like a lot of travel, things like that, you may have to pull back on these things until all of this gets resolved. We are seeing the Emperor coming out, and that does give this feeling of like a very strong foundation. The Emperor has this extremely strong masculine energy, so it gives off a father figure sort of situation. If you have a father figure in your life, you may be called to rely on them during this time. However, I am seeing this more like you taking your power back. You are the authority, you are the person who is in charge of this, and you need to be the one who sets the structure for yourself in order to build upon that new strong foundation. And if you're able to do those things, I think you'll be able to see it through. Can we get an outcome card as well for this group, for whatever it is that they're going through? We're seeing in the reverse position, the Empress come up. And I find this really interesting because it's coming right after the Emperor. The feeling that I'm getting is that you are going to need to depend on other people in order to help you through this. I think if you are looking into a routine, you might need to like hire a PA, or you might need to find a maybe like a trainer to help push you to continue to do things. Like if you are needing to make sure that you are engaging your body, you might need to find a trainer for that. You may need to just find somebody who can hold you accountable during this time, who's really going to be there for you during this, because I do see this need for you to rely on another person in order to have this sort of outcome. I'm getting this feeling that you're more prone to wanting to do things on your own instead of reaching out for help. And so it is calling to you in order to get through this, basically. Can we get any other messages for group 2 for the remainder of 2024 and for what they can expect? I've got 2 cards coming out. The first one is Sunstone, and it says, take pleasure in the things you do. So when you do set up this routine that you will be setting up, make sure that you fill it to the brim with things that you enjoy. Because again, I feel like there's something extremely stressful that you're going through that you have to make sure that you aren't giving more of your energy to things that are going to drag you down. So if you absolutely cannot stand cardio and you're like, I want to put working out into place, then instead lean on strength training or lean on a sport, things like that. Instead of trying to force yourself to go through the motions, find something that you absolutely love that you want to cling to. And the Sunstone here as well is a very beautiful gemstone. I actually have one right here that I'm going to pull out. This here, where it really invokes this sense of just like happiness, and it's a very bright and positive sort of gemstone. And despite that, you can see these little black flecks inside of them in both the gemstone that I have as well as the card. And that is sort of, to me, especially when it calls to you, is that this is just a small, just itty bitty moment of this blackness in your life, surrounded by all of this other positivity. So keep that in mind. Just know that whatever it is that you're going through, if you can get into that routine. You can let things just slide off your back kind of thing, and you just kind of go into this survival mode where you are going to protect yourself and your energy and really do everything that you can to get through this. You're going to make it out on the other side, and you're going to be stronger because of it. Last, we're seeing pink opal, and it says be kind to yourself. So yes, during this time, I want you to take care of you first. Try to avoid giving your energy to other people that are going to hold you down or hold you back, that aren't going to support you. You don't need those people in your life during this time. So really be that strong emperor figure for yourself during this time, or lean on those who invoke that in order to have the sort of protection. Allow yourself to have time for you to recharge. One last message for you, group 2. We have the Leone Abbacchio card coming out, and it says forgive yourself. So if you think that you put yourself into this position, or you think that you let whatever situation you're in happen to you kind of thing, you need to make sure that you forgive yourself, because you absolutely didn't. If this is a lawsuit situation where you're like, if I wouldn't have let this person into my life, or if I didn't do this thing or whatever, and now it's causing all of this, you need to remove that. You need to be kind to yourself, because this is just an unfortunate, again, blip on the radar of your life that is currently in your life, but it is going to make you so much stronger after you push through it, and you're going to be able to see progress into the next year. I'm going to go ahead and roll this Astro Dice for any last messages. So this could be your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps someone important to you during this time. So we're seeing Sagittarius come out first. Next, we have Gemini. Kind of bonked into the crow here. And lastly, we have Virgo coming out as well. Virgo also is very, very intense when it comes to routine. So again, that coming through, they are the planners. They are the ones that follow things through to a T. So find yourself a Virgo to help you stay accountable. If you liked this reading, I know it's a lot. I know it's not the most positive of messages, but I always like to try to bring out exactly what I feel the cards are telling me, because you hearing the honest truth is going to give you the best outcome. So I'm sorry, but if you did like this video, or if it resonates with you and like what is going on in your life during this time, remember to hit that like button. Click subscribe to join the Crow Coven so you don't miss other readings just like this one. And lastly, if you feel safe to do so, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment box below to let me know if this is kind of what's going on in your life and what routine you want to put in place for yourself as well during this time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and getting to the end of your video, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to today's reading. So today's video, we are going to be looking at what you can expect for the remainder of 2024. And in this video, you guys chose the Howlite in order to represent you today. And this gemstone can really help to bring like new ideas to the forefront of your mind, really bring about a lot of artistic inspiration to you, honestly. And it can also help you when you're feeling very, very overworked. So I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get directly into your reading. So the first few cards that I'm going to pull for you are going to be ones that I feel are connected to kind of the theme almost of what is going on during the remainder of your year of 2024. So Spirit, what can we expect for group 3? The first card we have coming out is Ghosts. So in this card, the very immediate message and feeling that I got from this is that you could possibly be revisiting things from your past that keep kind of coming to the surface of your memory. So you are really kind of like looking back almost on your past and trying to determine certain things from it. You may be trying to unblock certain aspects of your life. You may be needing to process some trauma, and in order to do that, you are looking back on those moments and you are going forward with that healing journey throughout the rest of the year. For some of you, this could be more indicative of you are surrounded by some sort of spiritual entity. If you believe in that sort of thing or not, you're protected in some way where they're trying to communicate with you in some way. So if you have recently been getting messages in your dreams, or you have been seeing certain symbolism that can tie to a certain person in your life who has passed, those are not just like random coincidences. Like, you are being guided by those guides of yours toward a certain outcome for you, and you are really able to kind of tap into that during this time. Let's go ahead and pull a few more cards. The next one we have coming out is risk. So you may be putting yourself in a situation where you can have a very great outcome at the end of it all, but going forward with it could be a bit of a risk to you. And for those of you who are going through it or just went through it, you kind of already know what this is. I think that this is something that you have been thinking about for a little while. And so you are you're making like kind of a plan now to go forward with whatever this risk is. For some of you, this could be that you are planning a big move. Perhaps you're moving away completely from friends and family in order to sort of start a new life. Maybe you picked up a job offer that is causing you to have to move, things like that. There may be other situations and stuff, but it's that same sort of feeling where you're putting basically everything on the line in order to see if this is going to pan out better for your future. And maybe that's why you are looking a little bit more into your past, because whenever it comes to me and I start planning or thinking about the future or wanting to make a big risky sort of decision, I tend to look back on the past and be like, well, have I done this before? Did I see success in it before? Or is this something completely new for me? And a lot of the times we can be held back from our past when it comes to wanting to make decisions, because we sit there and go, oh, well, I've never done this before, so I don't know if I can actually succeed in doing this. And it's something that holds us back from that. But you will never ever grow or be able to see what you could have had for yourself if you don't try to take that step and take that risk. So you could be almost holding yourself back during this time. Maybe you're in the middle of making the decision. And so you need to look at things realistically and try not to hold yourself back if it's something like you wanting to look back and sort of compare. Because even if it was something that you did in the past and it didn't work, you're at such a different point in your life now. You've learned so many more lessons. You may have failed before, but it was because you needed to learn that certain lesson. And now you are stronger for it and you can try again. And perhaps this time you will succeed. So let's go ahead and pull one last message from these cards. Spirit, can we get a final message out of these cards for group 3? Lastly, we have displacement. So this is interesting. We talked about this already in the fact that you may be perhaps traveling somewhere. Maybe you suddenly don't have a home or you don't have a job and you are kind of trying to get your feet back like under you in order to make a big decision for yourself and what could work for you for the future kind of thing. This card fills me with a lot of chaos. There's obviously the crows flying in different directions, kind of looking around like they're not sure what's happening, scavenging kind of in the area that they're in as well. So there's a lot of this sort of stressful, chaotic kind of energy. Again, you could be feeling overworked, like how we talked about in the Howlite. This could sort of indicate that as well. So I feel like if you are trying to make a decision, we're going to look into the tarot about that. If you're trying to make a decision where you are afraid of being displaced, where you're afraid of not having a home to go back to kind of thing, we are going to be talking about that in tarot. We'll get some advice for you during that. And also, I feel like this is something that if you, let's see here, if you want to risk this, I do think it's important for you to have a safety net. So if it's something like you plan on moving, make sure you have the funds to move back home if you need to, or you have a home to come back to. So say like you're living with your family right now and you're thinking about moving away, make sure you're able to come back home if you need to. There's those of us who would not have that privilege. So try to like set it for your situation. Like, where would you be able to come back to? Let's go ahead and tap into the tarot now. Can we get some messages or advice for group 3 for what's going on? Again, real quick before I pull these tarot cards, I still feel though that you're being protected with these ghosts here. I feel like whatever decision you're making, they're going to protect you in the way that is going to benefit you. Seeing the 5 of Cups in the reverse position first. I'm feeling very called to pull all of these, so I am going to do so. The Ace of Wands. The Tower. We get one last card for group 3. And the Queen of Swords. Overall, this is an extremely positive sort of reading I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that there's a need for you to forgive yourself and for you to move on from a certain situation. So this could potentially, my left light just flickered. I don't know if it popped up on the video or not. But I feel like if there is a chance that someone did pass in your life, whether it's your family or friend or something, you may be almost holding yourself back because you're afraid of either what would they think of me, or why am I allowed to continue on, but they weren't, kind of feeling that sort of survival guilt kind of thing, survivor's guilt rather. But in the 5 of Cups reversed, it does talk about kind of this need to accept and to forgive and to move on from a certain situation. And I feel like there's some need for you to either accept something within yourself or to forgive yourself because of this feeling of whether you're holding yourself back for one reason or another, or you've made risky decisions in the past that haven't panned out for you. You need to make sure that you realize that this is a new you, this is a new start, and it's time to do that. We're seeing that in the Ace of Wands. It is a powerful, brand new beginning. This talks all about the potential of the future and what you can accomplish and what you can do. I'm seeing, however, that this does come at quite the risk. We're seeing here in the Tower as well, this coming down. This is a necessary moment. And the Tower card is probably the card that I dislike the most, I would say. It is very necessary though, but when the Tower comes out, it is that there is some sort of sudden, extreme change that needs to happen in your life. It can come as a disaster. It can very much be some sort of external force that is sort of cutting into your life and taking away what you once had, and now you have to progress beyond it. But I'm seeing that whatever this Tower moment was, if it happened, if it just happened, or if it's about to happen, this is going to end up allowing you to open up to have this new beginning for yourself. In the Tower as well, this does show sort of like these distinct revelations of you. Like you're having an epiphany moment because of something that happened, and you're gonna realize like what is meant for you, kind of thing. This doesn't cut any corners. When it hits you, you know, and it's about whether or not you can pick yourself up from it and progress forward. And we're seeing in the Queen of Swords here, she is very strong, very organized and powerful, perceptive, someone who's extremely independent. So you may need to take on these traits in order to move forward from the Tower moment. But I see, again, I believe that you're protected and that you're going to be able to have this sort of strength and this mental clarity in order to get yourself into a better situation. This quick thinker mindset, this is kind of like if you're thrown something, you're able to serve it right back, kind of thing, without much delay. You very much know exactly what you can accomplish, and you're able to be very creative when it comes to certain decisions. So with the wands here, this also talks about being able to create something. So I think you're able to shape your future. You have to believe in yourself though. You have to put in that work. It's not going to be handed to you. It's still overall very positive, but this reading in particular feels very much like you have to be the one to put in the work in order to really see that positive outcome for yourself. I'm going to pull a few more cards. The first one we have coming out is Lemurian Quartz, and it says practice patience. So I'm interested in the fact that these both look like wands here. The fact that they're both, well, this is actually a wand, but the Lemurian Quartz being so sturdy. So allow yourself to be more rigid in your ideals and what you want for yourself. Channel that energy into a singular point to bring yourself to that place. I'm getting all these like sudden messages of cut the BS. Things that are in your life right now, you know that they're not good for you, and you need to make sure that you're getting these out. It's this feeling of clearing things away from you. There's clutter. There's something that you have been holding on to that is not serving you anymore. It may be a person, it may be a certain situation, a job, something. There's something that you're holding on to that isn't right for you. And I'm feeling very forward and like wanting to tell you this like in a harsh way, like almost harsher than how I'm coming out now. Is like, it's that feeling of almost wanting to swear at you. It feels like you know that this isn't meant for you, and why are you letting this happen, kind of thing. And I'm feeling like this might be someone that could have passed, like perhaps somebody in your family or like friends or something. There's someone I feel like around me who's very much kind of trying to like slap you upside the head and be like, why are you letting this happen? Like, I don't know why I keep feeling like wanting to say that, but they know that you are meant for so much more and so much better, and they hate what's happening around you right now. So I don't know why that came out so strong when I pulled this card, but because that's not even at all what it's about. But I think that you can't just give up things super quickly. The fact that practice patience is coming out makes me feel like you need to give yourself a lot of room to continue to grow, give yourself room to move on and to accept and forgive, kind of thing. But at the same time, make sure you're actually trying to do that. If you're trying to avoid everything possible, any hurt that you've been through, if you're trying to avoid those things, the tower is going to inevitably come to you. Like it happened, or it's going to happen. Like there's something that's gonna hit you that is gonna be a very obvious moment that's like, this can no longer be happening, and that decision is gonna be taken out of your hands, and instead you're going to have to you're gonna have to almost pick up the pieces, kind of thing. The next card we have coming out, Hematite. I love Hematite. It's probably one of my favorites, and it's very interesting to me because I'm a Gemini, and so Hematite is something that really helps ground me. So it says ground yourself on here. It can really help when you are feeling this chaos, when you're feeling like everything in your life is just going awry, or you feel like someone is trying to pull one over on you, or you just feel like you can't live in the present anymore. Hematite is an amazing gemstone. Honestly, I don't know why I'm feeling so called to say this, but like, pick yourself up some hematite, kind of thing. This can also help to protect you during this time as well. If you feel your mind wandering a lot, it can re-ground you again to the present moment. The fact that we had practice patience as well on here, hematite is that feeling of that grounded energy. Patience is sort of a trait of all of our earth signs. So grounding yourself to having a new foundation, because this old one was, if it's so easily able to be broken down by some external force, that means it wasn't meant for you. So grounding yourself and creating a brand new solid foundation is going to help you. I feel like you're going through a lot of growth. I know this was a really strong and like hard reading so far. We're not done just yet, but I'm not pulling too many more cards. But I'm just having this overwhelming sort of feeling like in my chest, and like you just have been struggling for a long time and you want to see the light at the end of the tunnel, kind of thing. And it's just like so hard right now. I'm going to pull another tarot card. Can I get an advice card and also an outcome card? I want just a little bit more information. So can I get some advice for group 3? We have death in the reverse position. So you have to either, you take this so literally. Death doesn't normally mean in the physical sense, like someone passing, but we've already seen ghosts. We've seen the need to move on. So this could possibly be you resisting the fact that there was an ending of someone's life. And it doesn't normally come out like this as often anytime I've done like readings, but for some reason this time around really feels almost like called to that, is that you may be struggling with releasing and grieving. And this might be why practice patience is around here as well, is you have to let yourself grieve in the time frame that you need. No one can put a cap on how long it's going to take to grieve someone passing. So you may not even realize that this is still hurting you, and maybe those memories of that person are still coming up and really like causing you some upset. But with it being in the reverse position, it's showing that there's this inability to move on from a certain situation, or just move on from the past in general, and you're really resistant to this change that could be happening, that's going to be coming, because we've got the tower. There's some change that's happening, and you have to better prepare yourself, because death, when it's in the upright position, it's all about rebirth, renewal, endings and beginnings, the sort of transitional period kind of thing. So it's letting me know that if there's something happening or something that has happened that has to do with actual death, that you need to really like start to forgive yourself for that and begin the process. I'm not going to tell you, wow, get over it now. Like, I'm not like that. Take all the time you need, but know that it is something that you have to process and move through in order to see that better future for yourself. Can we get an outcome card as well for group 3? We have the 7 of Cups coming out. So in the 7 of Cups, you're going to be able to open up almost like a whole new world for yourself. If you can master these feelings and emotions, the 7 of Cups is basically talking about you being able to, if you can like think it, if you can dream it, then you can live it. There are multiple choices in your life and multiple paths that you can go down. Not all of them are good. Like in this card here, we can see that there's literally a snake in one of the cups. So it might not be that every choice that you have in your life is a good one, but it's not like you're backed into a corner and you can only do one thing. You're able to explore the world around you and see what it has to offer you, instead of just being stuck in your head and being like, oh, I can only do this one thing. There is a word of warning, because this can talk almost about escapism and talk about like you living this almost like fantasy, like wanting to live in an illusion instead of seeing the world for its reality and what you're going through. But it is much more healthy to have these options and for you to strive toward the betterment of yourself instead of going back or making bad decisions. But again, this is all up to you. I like to say anytime we're having these more rough readings, because I'm sorry, but I read things very honestly, and sometimes it can be not very positive or happy things or things that we even want to hear. But again, you have complete free will. This is all just advice. So if you can take it or leave it, and if you are like, this is absolutely not what is going on in my life, or I don't want to deal with this at this time, you don't have to. Like, you do what is best for you and what you're prepared to tackle at any given moment. But I do feel like in order to help push you, I feel like you are protected by someone in your life who wants to see you succeed, and they know that there's much more for you in your future. I'm going to go ahead and pull one last card for you, group 3. I kind of went over a little over on time, but I wanted to make sure that you got all of these messages because I felt like you were really sort of needing it. The last card, I love this card. The last card is the arrow, and it says that you are the creator. So you're literally the person that is guiding you to your destiny. You are this shining beacon of hope for yourself, and you're going to be the one who takes on this journey and is able to progress and able to create this future for yourself. It's not up to anybody else. It's not going to be like you're suddenly going to be rescued by knight in shining armor kind of thing. You are going to be the person that stands up for yourself, that works past all of this like past trauma or gunk or whatever else, and you're going to be the one that points you in the right direction. It's a beautiful message to end on. It does give off this feeling of hope and this feeling of just being able to see success for yourself. Lastly, I'm going to roll this Astro Dice for any further messages. So this can be your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps someone important in your life's signs. First one that's coming out is Scorpio. The next one coming out is Gemini. And lastly, we have Capricorn. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. I know it was a lot, and I'm very, very sorry, but I really had to make sure that you got as much of the messages as you possibly could. If you liked this reading or it resonated with you, again, you might not necessarily like it, but if it resonated with you, please leave a like on the video. Hit subscribe to join the Crow Coven so you don't miss readings just like this one. Hopefully you can get something more positive next time. And lastly, if you feel safe or called to leave a comment, if anything really resonated with you and you want to share, feel free to do that. I am always down to listening to your comments, even when it talks about darker or heavier subjects. So thank you guys so much for watching to the end of your reading, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about what you can expect out of the rest of the year of 2024. And you guys chose this Aura Quartz to represent you during this reading. And this crystal in particular can really help with sort of expanding your consciousness and allowing yourself to heal either your physical and spiritual body. It can also help to really amplify things as any other quartz does. So if there is a certain goal that you're setting out for or you are really looking forward to, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below and let this Aura Quartz help you during that. So I'm going to set that to the side and we're going to go ahead and go right into your reading. So these first 3 cards that I'm planning on pulling are going to really be representative of sort of the themes of what you're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the year. Let me pull these, Spirit. For group 4, can we please get a few cards for what they can expect out of the rest of the year? The first card we're seeing here coming out is Upheaval, and I really want to talk about this first before I get into pulling the other cards. So in this card, this is almost like a direct correlation to the Tower card in our traditional tarot. There is going to be some sort of massive change that is happening in your life. It tends to be an external force that is coming through, but this could also represent sort of more of your internal thoughts. So it could be like a mindset change. It could be suddenly your perception of something changes. So maybe you believed one thing about something and then you're given new information that suddenly turns it on its head, and it really changes a lot about what is going on in your life, kind of thing. But this does come at a time where it's absolutely necessary and needed. You've become strong enough to be able to face this challenge, and it's now coming into your life in order to up-level you. And it's one of the worst things to have to hear, to have to be like, great, I have to prepare myself for something extremely hard coming up. We're going to see the support cards as well in a little bit, but with this, just know that you do have the strength to be able to push forward from this point. And tarot and the universe and everything that is looking out for you is not going to just let you sort of do it alone, kind of thing. So we're going to see what else can group 4 expect out of the rest of the year 2024. We're seeing displacement coming through. And it's interesting because I feel like I haven't pulled this card for like any other tarot reading that I've done on YouTube. Maybe 1 or 2 other times, but nothing that comes to mind. But I have pulled it for 3 out of the 4 groups now in this reading alone. So there's this feeling that I think is just happening to the collective mind that is just like a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption and flow is going on. And this is sort of causing a lot of us to not know what to do and where to go, kind of thing. We see these crows flying in different directions. There's some that are looking around being like, what do we do? This sort of chaos, and others that are sort of picking up the scraps, kind of thing. So there is this feeling of not sure like where to go, what to do. There's a possibility that this could talk about you being displaced out of work, maybe out of a home. Perhaps there is some situation with like a living situation where you need to leave or you are being forced out kind of thing. I feel like that this could have possibly happened, and right as I was saying that, my lights just flickered, so there's a possibility that this may have happened already, and so you're dealing with the aftermath kind of thing throughout the rest of 2024. Excuse me, sorry, it's like getting hard to like talk. I like can't breathe, so I'm gonna kind of center myself again, because sometimes I can sort of feel the emotions and feelings of like what is going on in the reading. So I'm feeling kind of this panic of needing to do things quickly and wanting to get my words out there fast. So you may be feeling very just disheveled in particular. Can we get one more message for group 4 and see what's going on? If you had also a draw toward any of the other groups in this video, it may be a good idea for you to check out those other videos to kind of see if there are more messages. Again, we did get displacement in 3 other videos, or 3 other groups. So it might be, rather 2 other, because you're the 3rd. So it might be good to kind of see if there are any messages in those that may also apply to you. Again, only if you felt called to a different group. Lastly, we have distance. So there is a particular message for some of you where this could possibly be you needing to move a long distance into a new home. Maybe you are picking up a job that is allowing you to move. Perhaps you've been thinking about moving out of the country and this is kind of calling you toward it. This sudden upheaval of everything is kind of pushing you toward that and finally making that decision for yourself. You may be feeling a distance between you and your goals. We're seeing here that the sun is kind of in this clearing of trees and cityscape, and the crows are all in this foreground here where they're very far away from that sort of area to where they could go if they wanted to. They can fly that distance, but just right now it's very far off. So there's that possibility of you recognizing that your goals are very far away from you at this time. Let's see if we can get any messages now from tarot. I'm trying to think, sorry for the awkward pause. I'm trying to think if there's any other feelings that I'm getting from these cards or anything I'm missing. Just know that you're protected during this time. That whatever, again, I do like to always say this whenever I'm having readings that feel almost a little bit more negative, is that you are the one ultimately who has free will and you're able to make these decisions and changes yourself. And it's not like tarot is holding you to the set in stone sort of future. You are the one who is going to be making whatever decisions for yourself. And so you need to find the strength within you to push forward to whatever future you want. So just make sure that you keep that in mind as you're listening to the rest of the video. Can we get some tarot out, please, Spirit, for group 4 and their situation for the rest of 2024? The first one we're having coming out is the 8 of Pentacles. And this always talks about this need to have this almost like repeated nature of doing things over and over and over again to perfection. So whether that's following some sort of routine or going through kind of this this rhythm to where by the time you finish practicing something over and over again, you end up coming out on the other side with just this absolute like perfect idealized version of what you were striving for in the first place. So this could be falling over and getting up again over and over and over again in order to get a new job or to move somewhere or succeed in your dreams kind of thing. Or it could just simply be called more literally to what's on the card, as we're seeing this figure painting. Perhaps you're an artist and you're needing to develop your style and needing to transform yourself to a higher level, and you need to do that simply by practicing over and over again kind of thing. could be calling you toward making sure that you're putting time into your craft. It can also indicate the need for higher education. So if you are somebody who's been kind of wondering about possibly going back into school, that might be something for you as well. Gonna get some more messages for group 4. Next, we are seeing the Ace of Pentacles in the reversed position. This is coming out showing that there is either a opportunity that you didn't grasp at the time, or you're not going to take it. So be very careful when hearing this to make sure that you are looking out for the opportunities that are around you, and really list out the pros and cons of those before you make the decision. Obviously, not all opportunities are going to be good ones, but it feels almost like if an opportunity is coming in and you don't take it, it may be to a detriment right now. So make sure that you are paying very close attention. It can also really talk about you not having the foresight or not planning better for yourself. So the fact that we are seeing this sort of upheaval and the sudden displacement kind of thing is like you currently don't have a plan in place for what you could do to have a more positive kind of outcome. So you're going to want to make sure that you take some time, maybe over the next month, really take and plan out your roadmap for, say if you're sitting there being like, if this thing happens, say if I lose a job, what would I do next? Is my resume updated? Do I have job applications out there? What skills can I put on there that I wouldn't immediately think of? What skills can I work on right now that could potentially put me into a better career situation in the future, kind of thing? So you may need to take a little bit of time to sit down and look at different aspects of your life and see where you can better prepare yourself. So if you are put in a situation where suddenly down the line you didn't have a plan, you now have one. So again, this is why we love we love divination, we love tarot, in the fact that it can give us advice like this, yeah, I don't have a plan put in place. I'm absolutely going to sit down and start figuring out things now, so in the future I'm not up the creek without a paddle kind of situation. Next, we have the Five of Cups in the reverse position. This is interesting because this came out in another group as well. So you really may be called to another group. I'm not going to say which one, but there is the potential that there are messages for you that you also need to hear. And in this card, it means that you need to really forgive yourself for something. There's something that you are holding on to that you think that you caused, or that you are still upset about, and there's this need for you to really forgive yourself and to move on. You have to accept what happened, and you have to find the strength within you to continue forward. Can we get some more messages for group 4, please, Spirit? We're seeing the Ace of Cups, and this is a great card to be ending on here with the Ace of Cups. Despite you possibly missing out on this opportunity here, the Ace of Cups gives you this sort of new outlet. This one is far more connected to love, so there's very much a high potential for you finding a love interest in your near future who can help really align you once more. This can be you finally tapping into compassion for yourself. This can talk about you really tapping into your creativity. We were seeing it a little bit earlier in the Eight of Pentacles, but you feeling this overwhelming need to really push forward with creativity. It can also talk about a lot of emotions, because cups have to do with emotions, deals with water signs. So there could be something that is going on that you need to process. And in order to process, you may be having extremely strong emotions. And because of that, you are using your creativity as an outlet kind of thing. So that's very, very possible. And it could be what is like calling you for your future as well. I do feel like a lot of you are artists in some way. So it doesn't have to be like traditional painting or anything. It could have to do with like just doing like digital art. You could be a writer. You can be someone who like sculpts, or maybe I even see, honestly, social media as a creative outlet, because we put a lot of ourselves into our branding and into so many different aspects. And the fact that you need to really have this creativity to continue to push yourself forward, because if you were to start something like YouTube or a social media like branding sort of thing, and it's simply because you were like, my end goal is to become famous or have money, that is not everyone's reality. You have to have this inner drive. You have to have a reason that to keep doing this, to keep pushing yourself forward. And so you may have this sudden inspiration hit you because you have this overwhelming emotion, and you see that creativity hit as well, that you are going to want to delve into it and explore further. I'm gonna get a few more messages for group 4. I think overall, you are going to have something deeply, like this deep sudden change that is going to happen, that is going to cause you to almost rethink a lot of aspects of your life. And you need to make sure that you aren't afraid of tackling those obstacles when they come. So again, get that plan in place. Okay. You are getting 3 of these cards because they all wanted out, so I'm going to take it. So the first one we have, I love this card, is Labradorite. It says, see the magic. So there's something that is surrounding you that is extremely magical, whether you're being very protected or whether you are seeing why this had to happen. There is going to be a reason for it all, and it is going to be something that if you can see how this opens up your life, you're going to be able to tap into this flow, and you're going to be able to ride it out a lot easier than if you were to resist it at every turn. So really keep your eyes open for the things that you may even think are to your detriment, and realize that they are there for you for a reason. The next one we have is the Lapis Lazuli coming out with make a decision. So yeah, there's a need for you to decide. Honestly, I really think it's not just a like this or this. My head is buzzing right now. It feels deeper. It feels like you need to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to stand up for yourself. And this is a very strong like pull that I'm getting. And it could just be because like we've had a lot of heavy readings, like a lot of the different groups have been pretty heavy. I would say that this feels almost like an internal need to decide, again, if you want to stand up for yourself, if you want this outcome, if you want more for yourself. You can't just rely on other people. You have to be the one to make this decision to change. And you're going to be protected during that. Lastly, we have in the Azurite, it says, get laser focused. So making a decision and then honing your energy and mind directly to that one thing that's calling you, instead of trying to waffle between things or falling into the like victim mentality that could come from a sudden upheaval and then that displacement. You're instead choosing to do something about it. And when you do, and you forgive yourself for taking however long it takes to decide that you want to stand up for yourself, when you can focus on that, you're suddenly going to see a lot of things open up for you.
there's going to be a lot less resistance and a lot more of a change that's going to be to your benefit. I'd like 2 more cards, Spirit, for this last little bit. First, can I please get one more? Okay. So the first one we're seeing in Coco Jumbo is relaxing in peacefulness. So give yourself this time to be still. Allow yourself to unwind in complete peace. Try not to keep yourself so cluttered that you can't escape from things to relax, in the sense of I'm someone who I need music to like do essentially any task whatsoever in my in my life. Because of my ADHD, I'm always understimulated, so I always feel like I have to have something happening, but I still find time to shut it off and sit down in the quiet and allow myself to meditate and recharge and really tap into myself. So letting yourself relax, letting yourself shut down completely, and being able to think of like nothing and to be able to relax. So finding a place of peace as well in this chaotic time, something that you can go back to that is always going to be able to ease your mind. So whatever that looks like to you, whatever way that can ease your mind, make sure you have that. And lastly, in Prosciutto, we have the importance of words. And I love this card so much. Not only is the art beautiful, but then we're seeing kind of the balance between the heart and the mind here. So you bringing yourself to this sense of balance, and also realizing how important words are for and toward you. So if you're somebody who talks down on yourself and you're like, I can't do this, or like, again, that victim mentality of like, why did this have to happen to me and things like that, it's going to keep feeding into that loop where it's just going to keep bringing those same things to you. So we want to make sure that we are talking good about ourselves and about others, especially during this time. We want to make sure that you are being very important and pick and choose the things that you want to speak out loud. So do a lot more listening and a lot less of the opening of your mouth and just blathering, because I do that. I can just blather forever kind of thing. So there are times where it is very important for you to sit back and just let things be said, and then you can keep that peace inside of you and you don't have to share it with the world. I'm going to roll the Astro Dice a few times to see if we can get either your sun, moon, or rising, or perhaps someone who's going to be important during your life during this time. The first one we're seeing is Leo. The next one we are seeing is Scorpio. And lastly, we are seeing Sagittarius. So I hope that this can kind of help you during the remainder of the year. I know again that it was a lot, so I also know that you are protected during this time. Again, as always, because it's tarot, this is simply just for advice and to help prepare you for a better future, because you are the one at the end of it all who has free will, and you're the one who's able to change your fate. So just make sure that you take what is here to serve you and leave the rest behind. And I hope you liked this reading. If you did, or it resonated with you, remember to hit that like button, click subscribe to join the Crow Coven so you don't miss other readings just like this one. And lastly, if you feel safe to do so and you would like to either share whether and how this resonates, or if you want to share kind of what your goals are for the future, feel free to leave a comment down below. I read each and every one of them, and I try to respond to each and every one of them as well in a timely fashion. So just know that there is someone out there that has an ear that is willing to listen and choose the importance of your words. Thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading, and I will see you in the next one.